In December of 2024, Big Bootsie appeared on a podcast named Unbelievable Behavior. Ironically, its name captures the essence of Bootsie's spirit in regards to Alpo Martinez, especially since Alpo's untimely passing on October 31st, 2021. Since, Bootsie has been very vocal about his abhorrence towards Mr. Martinez, whereas before he'd been very quiet. On the Unbelievable podcast, Bootsie appears to make assumptions based in opinion and take them as fact when it comes to Richard Porter, Alpo Martinez, and Richard Porter's little brother, Donnell. Let's take a look.
You should at least let him get his brother back if you do have any kind of love for him. And it is known that you got love for him because you said in an interview, K. Slay asked him, what are the things you regret? He said, I regret. One of the things I really regret was killing my brother, Rich Porter. So, how could you say that and mean you got love for him but let a little kid go to the wayside too, my brother? You didn't care about none of that.
So real Harlem niggas will look at it like, nah, fuck that. Poe got the little boy killed as well. Because
that's
by him,
a fact.
Right.
You didn't help at least get him back.
Alright, peace. Let's get to this clip. This Big Bootsie, this Unbelievable Behavior podcast. You feel me? Because once you shape a narrative, it begins to look a certain type of way. We all know Boosie don't mess with Poe. He friends with everybody, don't mess with Poe. AZ, the unique nigga from Harlem. A bunch of people that don't fool with Poe, he fool with. So we understand that. A bunch of people in D.C., he go to D.C. with the unique nigga from Harlem or whatnot and fool with the people that don't fool with Poe just for willy-nilly kicks and shits and giggles. You dig? So we know that if he had something to say about Poe, it wasn't going to be nice anyway. You dig? So about 8 months ago, he took to this podcast. And he's told this story before, and for the most part, it is consistent. I will say that the way he speaks about it, at least, the way he feels about it, he's consistently said this over and over again a few times. You know what I'm saying? I believe he might have said it on Queen's Flip. He might have said it on his own channel, you know what I'm saying? The Street Knowledge Podcast or whatnot. But let's just look at this right here. He says, you should have at least let him get his brother back. If you did have any kind of love for him, how could you say you got love for him and then let his little brother go to the wayside, my brother? He didn't care about none of that. As he shouldn't have. I wouldn't have cared about it neither. See, here's the problem with that. When I find out that you not my man in my mind, it's a wrap. You feel me? When I find out you played me in my mind, it's a wrap, as I'm sure it was in Poe's. You can't dictate how he responds to that. You feel me? Feeling like that man beat him out of possibly millions of dollars over the course of a short period. You feel me? It doesn't matter what's going on in his life. Richard, that is. Because it didn't matter what was going on in Poe's when he was beating him for that bread like that. You dig what I'm talking about? So, what I'm getting at is, you can't, even though Poe might have said he felt guilt about it, or this and that and the other, you can't dictate how I respond to that once I feel played. What them young boys say, you can't determine how I get my lick back, right? That's the problem with that situation. Everybody can feel some type of way, of course. He should have just let him get his brother back. This and the other blase plea, that has no bearing on what Rich allegedly, I'm going to just say allegedly, had done to Poe. You feel me? But ain't nobody looking from that angle. They using the little boy in order to draw sympathy from an audience and draw hatred toward Poe. You feel me? And I don't feel like that's cool. What else he said? He said, the host that is said, so real street niggas, no, he don't say street niggas, he say, so real Harlem niggas will feel like, nah, fuck that, Poe got the little boy killed. Bootsie responds, that's a fact because you didn't even help him get his brother back. What?
See, another thing he didn't touch on is when he didn't touch on when they kidnapped the little boy. How I was in Florida at the time. And nobody touched on that. And when I came back in town, and they was talking about this $500,000, how I gave Rich $100,000 because he didn't have all the money. Okay. Nobody mentioned that I had to give him $100,000.
What you mean he didn't help him get his brother back, doggy? He just said he gave him $100,000. He was in Florida, first of all, when the boy was kidnapped. when he come home and figure it out, he get a boy $100,000. He say he's goddamn gambling with his little brother, telling him to bring the price up and down. Bring it down a little bit. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. You don't do that with no kidnapping. And then for everybody that feels like, for every quote unquote real Harlem niggas that feel like Poe got the little boy killed, they're either not very smart, naive, or they're gullible. And that's just the way I feel wholeheartedly, flat out. I don't care how you feel about it. They're either naive, they're gullible, or they're not very smart. Man, Richard got his brother killed. It was Richard that got his brother killed. Richard's lifestyle. People were saying there was accusations that the little boy was hustling already, trying to be like Rich. You feel me? It was Richard's money that they were after. That's what got the boy kidnapped. That's what got the boy killed. Aside from the fact that his uncle, his own uncle, Alpo, played a part in that. Now, if you put all that together, you realize the boy wasn't ever coming home anyway. He wasn't ever coming home anyway. Alpo told him to come to the car here, take him to school. He saw his face. So you think that if Richard gives them the $500,000 they asking for, they just gonna let that boy go scot-free? Even though I don't believe Preacher would have feared repercussion from Rich, you still don't leave an enemy to be an enemy. And Preacher didn't leave an enemy to be an enemy. You dig what I'm talking about? So I don't understand why people are trying to put Donnell's murder on Poe's. Or Poe should have did this, he should have did that. Man, like I said before, you don't get to determine how somebody gets their lick back. You dig what I'm talking about? And the Boosie cat, in closing, that is, the Boosie cat need to sit down with this one. You feel me? He got to sit down with this one, man. Big Boosie was a bona fide flunky of Alpo's in the movie, and consequently a bona fide flunky of Alpo's in real life, and he never forgave him for that. As he told the own story himself about how Alpo never paid him for his services for him or whatnot. You know, I don't think he ever forgave Poe for that, and he always gonna feel some type of way when Poe's name is mentioned and brought up in conversation, so you can expect that type of energy. But please don't draw the narrative that real Harlem niggas feel like Poe got Donnell killed. That's just crazy work, dog. And it's not the truth, man. No matter how you slice it. Peace to the 5% nation of gods and earths. Until we meet again. I'll be back.